This video log is of my last hunt. Is probably going to be the longest one that I've made this year. I think if you watch the whole thing, which I know most of you won't, but if you watch the whole thing, I think there's something to be learned from this hunting trip. Well, I'm doing something I rarely do. I'm road hunting. But there's a reason for it. We're about 8,500 feet right now, and I'm taking a gamble being up here at this altitude in a vehicle. We get one stitch of bad weather, and I'm going to be eating feet down the mountain because I'm going to get stuck up here. But I want to keep my mobility. I haven't hunted this area before, but I've scouted it once. My cousin, he's seen elk around here during this time frame, I think a year or two ago, but every year is different. It really depends on the weather. So it could be that the elk will show up here later. It could be that they're already here. It could be that they're just not here. So we'll find out. So I'll give you a quick rundown, I guess. And this is why we're glassing from the road. That hill right there. Where is it? Right up there, I think. I was glassing from there in the summer. I have seen elk down in the basin out that way. And I think I was told that elk or possibly could be in this draw or this basin right there, or on the other side of that slope over there. So this road parallels the whole thing, so I can glass this from the road. So we'll find out. We're going to go along this whole ridge and glass this thing. Maybe not today, the whole thing today, but we're definitely going to pick this thing apart. Been doing a lot of glassing and a lot of thinking. It's now in the evening. Haven't seen anything. The shadows are long. Sundown's in about an hour. But that peak up there, that's over 10,000 feet. And there's not a stitch of snow on it. That has me thinking. I have no doubt this is a late season area, and we are in the late season. But at this time of the year, there should be snow on the ground. For the last 2 years, I think we've had at least some snow on the ground. And we don't have any at all. That is weird. I think I figured it out. The elk aren't going to move off the range they're in. Summer range, early fall range, transition, whatever range they're in right now, they're not going to come out of it until the weather makes them come out. Now this whole ridge I've been glassing today, the south-facing slope. It was actually pretty warm during the day, so they're probably bedding on a north-facing slope still, and that slope there, they're not going to hit that until there's snow on the ground, because the sunlight, south-facing slope, it'll thaw that ground where they can get at the grass, which is the elk version of hardtack, survival food. I came here because for the last couple years where I hunted my normal area, I didn't see hide nor hair of any elk. There's also snow on the ground, so they were probably, or at least colder, so they were probably over in this general direction, which is why I came here. And my cousin said he saw a fairly large group of elk with 3 spikes in it, either last year or the year before that. So that's why I came here. But the weather is unusually warm. I just saw I think it was a ferret or some type of a weasel, and it was all white like an albino. He was in his winter coat for snow, like a snowshoe hare, but there ain't no snow. So I think I'm not gonna spend another minute here. Gonna go to bed early tonight. Enjoy this fire. Oh, dark through tomorrow morning, I'm heading back to my normal area. I don't know what else to do. But that's my gut feeling, is that they're not going to be here until the weather forces them to be here. I rarely bother to make a fire while I'm hunting. In this case, I'm obviously making an exception. I'm glad I came out here early this trip. Originally, I wasn't going to show up until tomorrow morning, and I would have shown up here. But at least I had most of today to figure out, at least I think, what the deal is. I was expecting really cold weather. I changed to my wintertime lunch kits, and what I usually do with that is summer sausage, some Swiss cheese, some trail mix, and or like a Hershey's, just a straight regular chocolate bar. I find that for late season hunting and winter is the best way to go for your food, because you go, the granola cruncher route, and those things get really hard. You end up breaking your teeth. Whereas this stuff ain't gonna break your teeth on it. It's not hard. I have no doubt my cousin saw elk here. It was, when he was out here during deer season, it was snowy and muddy. Right now it looks like October? Early October? I don't know. But there's no snow at all. Middle of the day, it's a lot warmer. Now there is some snow supposed to come in, chance of light snow, Tuesday, I think. The elk, I don't think the elk are here. They might be, but I don't think they are. I think they're still wherever they were. They're not going to leave wherever they are unless they have to. But at least we had today to figure it out, I hope. This campfire might make for a long video, but come on now. Outdoor television, totally worth it. Usually this time of the year, I just suffer with the cold. It's not that cold. And we ain't suffering. I gotta tell you though, being out here by yourself, late season, winter, that cold, it's rough. It can get rough. So I figured I'd glass this area on my way out of this general vicinity. And it occurred to me last night that this pocket back here, I don't think there's any erosion trails that go into this pocket. And this pocket is in between the area I was just in and the area I normally work. Now I have one other area I want to glass this morning, so I'm not going to spend too much more time here. But this is a good place to glass for them. At this point, I figure you find one, you find them all. What I'm looking for is that one cow that steps out into the open. That's about the size of it, I think. Well, scratch that glassing point. Can't see squat, not because of the sun. Sometimes when you look on a map, the slope on the terrain looks like it'll be a glassing point, but it's not. Trees or topography gets in your way. All right, well, we're just gonna keep on looking. I'm gonna take a couple of the spots in this general vicinity before I leave the area, just to be sure. I'm going back. Before I leave this area, there's one slope that's nagging at me. It's an east-facing slope, and you can't glass it from anywhere. And it looks like there's some pines and quakies back in there on the map. And it's an area that you really have to hike up to get into it. And I think there's a ton of hunters around here and they're doing the exact same thing I'm doing. Glassing around the road. That's it, glassing around the road. From the road. Now, there's a parallel ridge that goes up between the one they might be in the next one over. So I'm gonna hit the next one over and try to glass from that one over. Because by the time I get up there, the thermals are gonna shift and my set's gonna be blowing right into them anyway. It's just why I didn't go up there yesterday. But the more I think about it, they might, if there's any elk around here, that's a very good place to look. They get the sun in the morning, and then as the sun moves over, because it's an east-facing slope, they get the shade. And it's secluded enough to where you're not gonna get back in there without some serious effort. And that's a good place to look for elk. I'm gonna bust my butt, I'm gonna go up there, and if I don't see anything, then I'm leaving. There's a trail. That's both good and bad. There's a creek. That's a good sign. Water sources are always good. Looks like cattle were coming in here in the summer. Probably fouled up the water too. Hello, Giardia. I'm gonna go around that way. It's looking promising for glassing anyway. Wind's coming this way, which is good. There's our glassing point right there. There's this valley I've been eyeballing. This slope. I don't see anything. At least now I can leave this area with my conscience clear. If there's anything that was accessible or bedded in this area, it would have been here. I think. Haven't heard a single gunshot all morning either, so there's that. Yeah, I think I can leave this area with a clear conscience now. And we're about a mile and a half, no, about a mile uphill from the road. Anybody says I did nothing but road hunting, you can kiss my... anyone's tracks on that trail but mine. So I'm probably the only guy out there this season. So, the game plan for tomorrow is to go back to the last place I physically had eyes on elk, which was during rifle season. There was a migratory pattern at the time. The thing is there really isn't any weather to speak of to force them out of their summer range. I assume they're in their summer range right now. They're going to be up high, somewhere near water probably. Going back to the last place I saw elk is the only thing I got, really. In the meantime, we've obviously relocated, and we are not sleeping in a cold sink. Oh no. That's a mistake you only make once. No more of that for me. I do wonder how long I'm going to be chasing spike tags, multi-season spike elk tag. Seems like I have the best luck during archery. Rifle is just, I don't know. And this season, muzzleloader, late season, I'll be lucky to see an elk, truthfully. It's a bloody miracle I got my, I punched my cow tag last year. That was definitely late season. And I think what was working with me on that was that we had a really good snow year that year. Snow came sooner, forced them down to elevation sooner than it would normally be. And that's where I was. But I have yet to see... No, I take that back. I've seen one cow during late season muzzleloader. Next year, I'm probably looking at I have 6 points of limited entry turkey, so I will probably, good chance I'll be doing limited entry turkey in April. And I have a couple points in deer I've been trying to put in for this unit right here. If you remember archery season where I had that buck like, I don't know, 50 yards from my camp. But the main reason for deer muzzleloader is that I kind of view it as scouting season for my limited entry tag. So after this coming year, once I do that general season buck deer muzzleloader in September, then I think the year after that I'll start putting in for my limited entry in earnest instead of just buying points and driving up point creep. And after that, that might be the pinnacle of my big game hunting career, as it were. Often I think about just doing archery and then hunting grouse for the rest of the year. I think about that quite often. Instead of giving DNR my money every year. Spike tags. It's practice for when you have a real tag. With the single digit percentile of actually being successful. Tired. I think I'm ready to be done for the year. Though I do have that crazy idea of not a overnighter, but just like a. I need to check the local regs, but I'm still thinking in the wintertime of trying to do a spot and stock cat hunt. I wouldn't try it any other year or any other time of year, but winter. When there's snow on the ground, that's a good time to do that. The cow. She was up there and went that way. Right there, another cow. Right there. We definitely caught a small herd. There's another one right in between the trees right there. I think they're about 200 yards. There's a couple more right there. I think that's about 6 cows. And maybe one calf. It might be a juvenile. It's 7 o'clock. And I just saw 6 cows, at least. Maybe one calf or a juvenile. I'm surprised. Hey, if nothing else, at least I can say I've seen some elk this trip. There's more over there. Oh, shit. They're spooked. I tried crawling in couldn't figure it out, so I started glassing and I saw them. They were down there. I started to get up to leave when I thought they were all gone, but there's a couple more hanging out. I think the ridgeback is that way. I think they're traveling that way, just below the ridgeback. And if I was to make a guess, they're gonna cross over at the saddle and go that way. If I walk that ridgeback, my scent's probably gonna blow right into them. We'll find out. Oh. It's probably that herd from this morning. I don't know, it's some big pile of scat. Yeah, that had to have been those cows. They went that way. There's a ton of them. Damn sun's in the way, but there's a ton of them right in that meadow up there. Wish I brought my spotter. I didn't think I needed it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. At least 14 head of elk right there. What time is it? 7:32. And they are on a south-facing slope. No, I'm sorry, north-facing slope. They're in the shade. And it looks like they're starting to move. The first group I bumped into that was on a west-facing slope. So either way, they're in the shade right now. They are literally in their summer range. Yeah, they're leaving. I did not think I'd need my spotter coming up here. Offhand, no, I don't see any antlers on any of them. I think it's a family group. That meadow right there. That's where they are. You know, I don't think it would have mattered. I mean, I've been packing my spotter this whole time, but I don't think it would have mattered because I actually came up here later. I left the truck at shooting hours. Had I left any earlier like I normally would have, I would not have seen that first group of elk. I probably would have bumped them. And then by the time I spotted that group of elk, I kind of wonder if they saw me. Because they were all kind of standing around for a little bit, for about a minute, and then they all started meandering out. I don't know, maybe they're already on their way out. It's 7:35, and they are heading in the direction of private. So they're out. I don't know. There's where the sun is. I'm gonna go walk down that way. Clearly I've missed that group. Maybe there's something that'll come to the saddle.
just bumped or heard a group of cows way out that way. It wasn't my bubble. They saw me. I didn't notice them till they moved. Dang it. So there was that meadow from this morning. It's not the first time I see some, usually it's bulls, but I didn't see any antlers. I just saw a couple cows down in there. It could be that group that I saw earlier back that way. Maybe they crossed the saddle before I got to it, and probably did, and came back down this way. The thermal shift at about 9 or 9:30 from what I remember. So I'm gonna back out and around, and see if I can glass anything in this valley real quick.
I know one thing, if they're bedding in there, if there's any bedding in there, they're in the really thick stuff. Because that's about where I was. Of course, now I'm not seeing squat. Trying to work out a game plan for tonight and tomorrow morning. I think those elk up there, assuming that's a pattern of behavior and they're going to be out there again tomorrow morning. Where was it? Yeah, up there. I don't think I'm going to chase them. They're a little bit too far away. And odds are they're going to see me before I get in the shot distance with the muzzleloader. Might be wasting my time. That leaves actually 3 other alternatives for tonight, or 2 for tonight anyway. I think they crossed over the ridge over there this morning, probably before shooting hours. So I could just sit over there this evening, or I can go back over there towards the saddle. One thing I don't think I'm going to do is sit here and glass this evening. It's not going to do me any good. All it's going to tell me is elk over there that I prefer not to chase anyway. So I think tonight, sit over there or in the saddle over there. And as for the rest of this, we'll talk about it when I get back to the truck over a cup of coffee. Now, coming out here, I'll tell you what I was expecting. I was expecting, maybe even hoping, that we would have enough snow on the ground. That the elk would have already congregated into their winter herds. That way, any spikes that made it through archery, which, let's face it, no one shoots spikes during archery, or rifle, would be visible. You know, find the herd, there's the herd, find the spike, work your way in, shoot the spike. That's what I was hoping for. Instead, we got something different, and it's all due to the weather. Now, I'll tell you what I observed without any conjecture on my part this morning. The elk seemed to be out from the beginning of shooting hours to the end, or about 1 hour thereafter. So shooting hours right now starts at 6:30. By about 7:30, I'm guessing, if I didn't bump them, that they're going to be heading back off to their beds by that point in time. It starts warming up fairly quickly right now. So that's part of it. Now, of the elk I observed, the first group were on a west-facing slope that had no sun. The second larger group was on a north-facing slope that also had no sun. The smaller two that I bumped in the brush, they were also on a north-facing slope down in, I would say they're about halfway up to the top of a ridge. Another thing I observed glassing to the elk that I did from the get-go is they are in, I don't know if they're completely in, but they are definitely somewhere in their winter coat. You can tell because the mane or scruff around their neck, when they have their winter coat in, it gets really long, and it was pretty long. It was I don't know if their winter coat is fully grown yet, but they're definitely in their winter coat already. They're not in their winter herds. Because it's been so warm, because it's been so snow, I think they're definitely sticking to the cooler areas right now, probably because of their winter coat that's come in. Now, the herd, obviously not in a winter herd. I think what we have here is a bunch of smaller family groups that later on will form a winter herd. They're not formed it yet, but they're all around the same vicinity, I think. I'm just extrapolating now because I've seen this behavior during calving season. And you'll see smaller groups of elk all over the place. It's not until the end of calving season that they all band together and they all migrate out. I suspect we're going to see the same type of behavior here as soon as it's cold enough. So the the winter herd that I was hoping to find, it isn't there yet. That's why I was saying find one elk, you find them all. In a way, I did. Now, my worry right now is that I may have bumped, because right now they're clearly in sanctuary mode. They're definitely in sanctuary mode. They're back there. I don't think too many people have been back there. So that first group, I hope I didn't bump them. Because my canteen got snagged. I noticed a couple of them were up and they're looking in my direction and they stopped. And then I was kind of prairie dogging my head over the ridge. And they were there, and the next time I looked, they were gone. So it's possible I bumped them. Now that other larger group on the ridge in the meadow, they were, I don't know, well over 500 yards away. They were way over there. But I probably skylined myself coming up that ridge. The only reason why I think that they may have seen me is because when I glassed them, they all were just kind of standing around. They weren't really grazing. They were just kind of stopped, and they were just kind of looking off in the space. And then about a minute or two later, they all just kind of started meandering out of there. So it's possible that they saw me. I know elk late season can spot you from 400 plus yards away. At least when there's snow on the ground. Right now, I don't know. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit. So hopefully I didn't run them out of there today. We'll find out. I think I'm going to go back up there this evening, somewhere in the vicinity of where I saw that first group, because it's also nearby where I saw them herding up earlier during archery season, which is a new behavior for this area. And I don't think it's any coincidence that someone nailed a spike during rifle season around approximately the same area. Normally that area, I only look at it when I'm going up the mountain and when I'm going down the mountain. I typically never really hunt around there. But it makes sense because the herding behavior I saw near that area during archery, plus that spring that I think they might be getting water from that, which isn't too far away from there. So I think that's a game plan for this evening. Now, tomorrow morning, I don't know what I'm going to do. What did I say last night about not sleeping in a cold sink? I may end up sleeping in a cold sink tonight. Don't know. One thing's for certain. There ain't going to be no campfire tonight.
I know this is cheesy. Kinda. But I'll show you why. Now, earlier this morning, think that herd of cows crossed through here. When I walked this road here earlier, I found a lot of fresh tracks on there. Now, normally I camp back that way, and there's a game trail that goes, or trail, that goes from roughly my camp to where I normally glass. There's tracks on that too. And during archery, I've seen them congregate in this meadow right here. They might come down either from across the ridge over there, or from down in the trough and up. Right now the wind's blowing that way, but hopefully if we turn back this way where it doesn't matter. If I went down that way, the wind would be blowing my scent across the field. And I've noticed that, I think, I could be wrong, but I think deer and elk are less threatened, or notice something a little bit less that's low to the ground. If you're sitting or standing, you're going to notice you really quickly. But I've gotten pretty close to deer, bucks, and a few elk just by being small. So hopefully, if anything comes through here, I'll get a shot that's about 100 yards. And that is perfect muzzleloader distance. Shooting hour is over in 14 minutes. I don't think anything is going to come through here. Curiosity is getting better. Sit up or better. Nothing up there. Either they don't come in till later tonight, or I blew them all right back to private today.
Looks like I'm spending the night in the cold spring. This doesn't make any sense to drive all the way back to where I was last night and then drive back all the way here this morning. Whatever the overnight lows are, I probably slept in a lot worse. So whatever. Last night here, I'll be sleeping in my own bed tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, not sure what to do yet. I'm sure it'll come to me overnight. But one thing that sticks out to me is it's probably a mistake to hike up that ridge in the dark. Considering I ran into elk on my way up. So, leave right before shooting hours. Bare minimum where I don't need a headlamp. Problem with that though is I have, I'm guessing, approximately an hour before the elk leave, assuming they're there. Assuming I didn't blow them out. So I have a very limited window. And, yeah. I don't know. Some game plan will hit me when I'm sleeping tonight. Gotta finish dinner. Hit it in the morning.
This morning. Bummer. Not a good sign. Nothing coming up, nothing over there. I had a feeling this was gonna happen today. I probably bumped them out of here yesterday. They're really watching them. They were really on edge, really skittish. And I know I pull the private property card a lot, but on the other side of this hill, there is a large tract of private land, and a corner of which lays right up on the backside of that mountain. That's where they were during rifle. They used to not hang out there so much. Something has changed in the last year, where I think normally that road would have been out that way, but now they seem to be out that way on private land that way. Farts in the wind. All they are is farts in the wind. I'm gonna go back down that way and just do my due diligence. Yesterday when I bumped that cow down there in the brush, I wasn't fully in that bubble of concentration, and I should have been. That may have been the bump that spooked the whole herd. I mean, it was a satellite group, I think, but I was stalking through the woods. I saw the movement in the corner of my eye. I stopped. I saw him, and I wasn't sure if he saw me, but he stopped moving too, so I assumed he saw me. And all I saw was his butt, so I thought that his head was behind the tree. It could be he was looking through the tree at me, because I stopped, he stopped, we were staring. And then a voice in the back of my head said, "Hold still, don't move." But I was so anxious to see if there was a pair of antlers on that one, I lifted up my rifle to look through it, and that's what he bolted. So, always listen to that voice that says, "Hold still," or something like that. I didn't yesterday, and I should have. That could be why this morning is looking like what it is. All it takes is one cow to move a herd.
I guess it's only fitting we end this year's big game hunts where it started, right here, caching water. I'm the jackwagon who dug this shelp. I've been camping here for a while. I think there's very few people who know this valley better than I do by now. Maybe two that I can think of. But after all this time, you think I would have pulled an elk out of here by now. I almost did, second week of archery. I'm the jackwagon who botched a 13-yard shot because of some branch deflection. 13 yards, that's gonna eat at me a while. This video log is of my last hunt is probably gonna be the longest one that I've made this year. And I think if you watch the whole thing, which I know most of you won't, but if you watch the whole thing, I think there's something to be learned from this hunting trip, this video log. I'm gonna call it a video log. That's what they really are. This whole hunting season has been, from start to finish, has been educational. And I hope, I'm a better hunter for it. This trip, technically unsuccessful. I'm adding one more tag to my tag soup collection. But I want to think of this hunt as a success, because no one else can find elk. I did. And if I had an antlerless tag, I had a 175-yard shot yesterday morning. Now, whether or not I would have connected is another matter. 175 yards is my second holdover on this. Max range is maybe 260. I feel comfortable about 100, 125 yards. So, whether I would have connected is another matter. Season's flown by, really has. Really fast. It seemed like just yesterday I was complaining that the price of the tags has gone up. Anyway, I think it's time to head on down the mountain, unload this muzzleloader, and head on home. If I do it, regardless of whether I do anything this winter, I'll see you next year. You have a good one.